Invite the people standing, take these seats. Somebody puts things on there that say don't sit here, but I say ignore them, so please. Actually, what happens is the first row is set aside for people who staff the federal regulators, none of whom are allowed to go out without 3 people to make sure they don't say anything you're not supposed to say. But the current people don't need that, so the seats in the other row, so please feel free. If there's an empty seat, sit in it. I don't like people have to stand up. And with that, I guess, well, we go to the small business. Oh, we did. I apologize, Mr. Neugebauer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you, witnesses, for sharing your perspectives. There are many factors impacting lending, but I think one of the biggest issues is the uncertainty created by the government. Small businesses are uncertain about the cost Congress may add on to them and the taxes that they will have to pay, and the lenders are uncertain about the changing regulatory environment. I just spent 2 weeks in my congressional district, and over the last 2 months have been talking to lenders and been talking to small businesses and touring a number of those businesses and asking them what they feel like the state of play is. And quite honestly, I hear more about what Congress is doing than what the banks are or not doing and what the SBA is doing or not doing. They tell me, they said, Congressman, literally, I was in a business last week, said, Congressman, we don't know what to do. We're concerned that the government's about to put these new burdens for health insurance. They're going to raise our taxes. The cap and trade or cap and tax bill that may increase our cost of energy, and this particular business uses a tremendous amount of energy. That the huge deficits that are being incurred, and how we're going to begin to pay that back, and what will be in the environment, the inflationary potential of the Fed monetizing debt. I mean, the list went on and on and on. And when I sat down and talked to bankers, I said, tell me why you're not lending. He said, Randy, we would love to make some loans right now. He said, but quite honestly, our good customers are not coming and asking us for loans right now because of just the overall uncertainty. And he said, and when they do come, the amount of paperwork and regulatory environment is terrible. And several banks in my district said that they were having problems making home loans and real estate loans to the people in their little small communities because of some of the new regulations that are out there, and particularly, for example, requiring escrow accounts, where these little community banks have been making these home loans in their communities for hundreds of years or many years, and now have these new requirements. I want to read you some of the comments that I entered in the record here, as the chairman said. This is from a community bank in Abilene. The increased regulation proposed by Congress and various federal agencies will continue to make our jobs more challenging and costly. Our hope is that Congress will stop much of this pending regulatory legislation and realize that community banks have not caused today's economic problems and already are overregulated. From a small business in Abilene, Texas, with Congress and the executive branch planning so many changes that add both uncertainty in decisions and certainty in higher taxes to pay for everything, small businesses have no choice but to wait and see approach to any future growth. From a community bank in Hereford, Texas, those asking why we are having trouble making loans should get a mirror and understand that that is not that it is not that we are not making loans, but we're being driven out of making loans by those who are asking us to make loans. From a mortgage lender in Abilene, is the answer more regulation, more government involvement, more oversight? I would tell you it's not. We are here today because our government started manipulating the industry, and the industry, quite honestly, they do not understand. I suggest that free enterprise be allowed to work to bring us out of this financial mess. And finally, a community bank in Plainview, Texas. Community banks want to lend. That's how we serve our communities. Increase our capital for growth is what we do. Given the present uncertainty in the economic and political climate, banks are understandably anxious regarding extensions of new credit. And so I think one of the things that I have been saying is that the best thing that we can do for the economy, the best thing we can do for the American people, the best thing we can do to get this economy going again is, quite honestly, is for the government just to stop all of this nonsense that we've been about. We are creating a huge amount of uncertainty. I'm a former businessman. I'm a former land developer. You know, and when I look at the environment today of the uncertainty that's created out there, I'm not sure I would be looking for new deals right now. So I think I'm listening to the people in the 19th Congressional District, and I think they speak for, quite honestly, people all across America, is they just wish the government would stop it. They wish the Congress would quit trying to micromanage our financial markets and quit this silly stimulus program that we're doing where we're trying to borrow and spend our way into prosperity. Quite honestly, how we got here was borrowing and spending, and a lot of people borrowed and spent too much money, and now they're having to pay it back. Some can't pay it back, and that's certainly created a great deal of uncertainty in our marketplace.
Gentlemen's time has expired. The